this is, of course, YouTube Live. Today, we're going to talk about the biggest skill that you can develop. What is that biggest skill? What is that special need or that special talent that you and I, of course, should develop? It is the ability to reset fast. That's right. Did you know that every one of us has the ability to think on our feet? We don't have to sit there rocking around stunned when things happen to us. You can actually reset. Sometimes when someone says something or does something to you, you don't have to immediately react. You can actually sit there for a moment, and then all of a sudden you can act or react depending on what happens. Let me give you a perfect example of that. One time I was traveling on my motorcycle between Calgary and Banff, and I was heading towards Banff. I was driving down the road, or riding down the road, I should say. And then all of a sudden, this lady, she pulls into my lane. I only had a moment, just a second, to be able to react and to also act. Now, it was interesting that, of course, because I have had many years of riding a motorcycle, I knew exactly what was going to happen. So instantaneously, I slowed down just enough and then pulled over because there happened to be a shoulder. The lady saw me at the last second and she actually went, sorry, and but because of my skill and my talent and knowing what to do at the time, that split second decision, of course, saved my life. Let me give you another example of that. One time we were driving from, of course, Edmonton, Alberta, down to visit my son and also as well my daughter in the current community where I live. We weren't living there at that time. And as we were driving down Highway 14, we were in my Sebring convertible. And as I was driving, all of a sudden, this vehicle comes flashing across the road right in front of us. Now, because I have been driving for many, many years, I was able to slow down, but also, be able to drive around that vehicle without us being hurt at all. But it was one of those split second decisions. And that is a wonderful skill that, believe it or not, every one of us possesses. Have you ever all of a sudden something fell off the counter and you were able to catch it and you were sitting there saying, wow, that's actually pretty good reflexes? Well, that is the ability that every one of us has to reset. It's the ability to be able to react and also act in a moment of time. And that's a great skill to have. Now, how can you apply that to life? Well, if you're having a bad conversation, move on. Don't sit there and fuss, and don't sit there and get mad at the individual or what's happening at the time. You can simply say, you know what? This is a bad conversation, but I am going to move on. I am not going to allow this conversation to ruin my day. I'm not going to allow this conversation to turn me into a unforgiving, bitter, or hurt person. I am choosing to move on. If you're in a relationship that is a bad relationship, maybe it's time to just move on and say, I don't need this person in my life, even though they may seem at the time important. When somebody is abusing you, when someone is using you, when someone is blaming you, when someone is gossiping you or bullying you or, mocking you, move on. End the relationship. Don't sit there and take it time and time again. It's time to move on. If you have a bad day, for example, remember this: tomorrow you can start fresh and new. It was Jeremiah who said this: the mercies of God are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. What Jeremiah is getting across was, listen, you have a bad day, go and start again the next day, because every day is an opportunity to start fresh and new, to shape a different day than what you had yesterday. Maybe you have to take care of something from yesterday. That happens from time to time. But you know the beautiful thing about a brand new day? There's no mistakes. You can start fresh and new. The sun rises again in the east. And then you have a new opportunity to be able to shape a better day than yesterday. You start fresh tomorrow. You begin a brand new opportunity each and every day. That's why David said, this is the day which the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And so when you have a bad day, just reset fast. Get a brand new mindset for that day. And remember, the only day that you have is actually today. Yesterday is in the past. Tomorrow is in the future. You can't do anything about the past, and you can't do anything about the future because you don't know what, of course, the future holds. And listen, when you have a bad day, remember, don't allow the past to shape the present or the future. Let it go. I used to watch my granddaughter, Gabriella, when she was doing karaoke at about 3 or 4 years old. And the popular song at that time was, of course, that song from Frozen, where she would sing, let it go, let it go. And I like that. Let it go and start fresh and new. If you miss a workout, for example, hit it the next day. You see, what I'm telling you is, of course, you can and you must develop the skill to be able to reset. It's simple, it's simple wisdom, but it's so profound because the simple fact is that many times people get stuck. And when you get stuck, you have a choice. You can stay stuck, or, of course, you can unstuck yourself. Years ago, for example, I used to go four-wheeling in the Swan Hills, which was, of course, a beautiful area that is just below the Rocky Mountains. Beautiful area. And one time I was driving through the hills and I was in my Jeep. I had a beautiful Jeep YJ, and it was one of my favorite things was to drive through the hills. Well, I was driving through this one particular road, and all of a sudden there was a great big huge mud bog in front of me. Well, I needed to get to the other side, so I just stuck that four-wheel drive into and drove into the bog, and I got stuck. That's right, I got stuck. But I kept on trying because I did not want to stay in that bog, because if I had to get out of my vehicle, I would have been up to my waist in mud and I would have been really stuck. But I just kept going back and forth and back and forth. And finally, I got unstuck and went through that bog and said to myself, you know what? I'll take another road so I won't have to get stuck with this bog again. You see, the simple fact I learned that day that if you get stuck, and you can get unstuck, but it takes a lot of effort. And it took a lot of effort, and it took a lot of back and forth and sideways. But eventually, I did get unstuck. When you get stuck, guess what? You need to work at getting unstuck. And that takes a skill in itself. And that's a nice illustration. You hit the thing next day. Poor decision. We all make poor decisions. Learn and adjust, because that's what reset is all about. Learn from your mistakes. Adjust to the new reality that you find yourself in. But don't sit there and get stuck. That's the greatest skill that you and I can develop. And that is the ability to reset, the ability to develop a new mindset, a new attitude, a new view of things. I used to have a friend, his name was Tyson Spence, and Tyson would say this: attitude is not the only everything, it's the only thing. It's the thing that will get us through that bad conversation. It will be the thing that gets us through our bad day. It'll get us through those missed out workout and missed out opportunities. It will help us with our bad decisions. We can learn, we can adjust, we can go forward, we can change the path. One person said, if you can't go around the mountain, if you can't go over the mountain, maybe find a way to get through the mountain. Either way, when an obstacle is in the way, basically you have a choice to make. Everything is either an opportunity or an obstacle. The choice is, of course, what are you going to do? So basically, you need to develop that wonderful skill called reset. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you will allow it to affect you. And that's so important to know today. So, what am I saying? Basically, what I'm saying is this: the biggest skill that you can develop is the ability to be able to reset. You have a bad conversation, you move on. You have a bad day, you start fresh tomorrow. You miss a workout or opportunity, hit it the next day. You have a poor decision, learn and adjust. Like I said, you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how long you will allow it to affect you. That's your choice. And remember, every day you and I will have lots of decisions and choices to make. And being able to reset fast is going to be a great skill. It's a big skill that you and I actually have within us right now. It's buried in there. You can react very quickly. You can make a decision very quickly. Sometimes it only means taking a moment and then deciding what you're going to do. You know, for example, you have a salesman or someone who phones you or texts you and says, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. You can make a decision to, of course, either jump in with both feet or say to yourself, you know, I'm just going to wait. You know, one of the greatest skills that it's called listening to your gut. Something inside you says, that just doesn't sound quite right. Listen to your intuition. Listen to your gut. Make that moment count. Reset. Use your skill in that area. It may keep you from some very difficult decisions and also situations that were beyond your control. That's the skill of reset. Develop it and use it, because remember, you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how long it will affect you. One person put it this way: everybody gets hurt, but how long you stay hurt depends totally on you and what you're going to do and the process you're going to do to heal and be made well. That's my thoughts for today. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Again, if you like what you're hearing and seeing, I do encourage you to press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, as well, I want to thank all the people who have subscribed and all the people who check out my videos every single day. Also, as well, I want to remind you that every day I do what is called YouTube Shorts. I do short videos, usually under 1 minute, and it can be such a blessing. And I do them every single day. So check out my YouTube Shorts. Maybe something that I say will be able to help you. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Have yourself a great and godly day.